Alright then. I hate spending my time being a negative Nancy, and I hate writing to preempt responses to a negative topic, so let's just get all of those out of the way quickly for everyone's sake. I'm not trying to tell you to buy or not buy Sonic Colors Ultimate. I don't hate Sonic. I actually quite like Sonic Colors. I don't take joy in kicking something when it's already down. I know some of the glitches were fake, and I know a patch is on the way, and my criticisms still stand in spite of me already giving my money away. Yes, I know the remaster is still mostly playable, and I'm not trying to attack you personally if you attach to this game or series as part of your identity. Alright, I'm sure anyone who is going to say any of those things is going to ignore all this and say it anyway. So moving forward. I was pretty excited about the idea of Sonic Colors Ultimate. As the last few months of marketing went by, none of it particularly caught my interest, but as a huge Sonic fan, you kind of just accept that you're going to check out the new games as they come out, so I didn't really need to be. The more we saw of the pre-release footage, the more it seemed to be missing the mark in some ways, but there were conflicting reports about the dates of gameplay builds being shown in that footage, so it was difficult to really navigate what was and wasn't worth worrying over. But it was Sonic Colors. I still fondly remember how excited I was for the game in 2010, and picking it up before a high school play and forgetting one or two of my lines because I just couldn't wait to get home and finally play it. I felt it was totally worth my excitement back then, and I spent hours and hours replaying it over the years. So, 11 years later, getting to see the game escape from being stuck on the Wii and be more accessible to new and old players was an exciting prospect on its own. This one was seemingly teed up for everyone. I think even those who don't like the game on its own merits can admit that it certainly was the right game at the right time back then. And I think it was the perfect game to re-release after the success of the movie. At least the perfect one that wasn't already widely available on newer platforms. On paper, this remaster is one of the safest bets Sega could have made with Sonic in years. Sadly, the execution here is still a flub. Amazingly. I'm going to meander in this video, but I'm just so bummed out about this series for a lot of reasons, and I just need to talk it out. This isn't even necessarily about Sonic Colors Ultimate specifically, just everything with Sonic. So, to establish my experience with this new version of the game, I have been playing the PlayStation 4 release on a PlayStation 5. I have played an approximate 15 hours, have experienced many audio bugs, a few visual bugs, have had 2 freezes, with one of those freezes causing me to have my save file corrupt entirely and necessitating a new save file. While I do receive free games for coverage purposes from Sega now and then, which is an important thing for you to know, I paid for Sonic Colors Ultimate out of my own pocket. With the release imminent, the excitement to experience Sonic Colors again hit. So much so that I gave the $5 extra to play the games a few days early digitally. A business strategy I greatly dislike and criticize in the gaming space, but I played their game and myself. I think what's important for me to say up front here is that most of the time, I was really enjoying myself. I can't speak for the Switch version and its infamy, but the PS4 edition of the game mostly played well and was largely the game as I remembered it. There are some level design aspects that haven't aged as well as I'd hoped, but by and large, I was grinning wide and being charmed all over again. It's hard to frown while playing Sonic Colors, except maybe during those yellow spring levels. Ooh. I was recording my gameplay because I figured between this channel and FTCR, I may need the footage for something anyway, but took a break after getting to Asteroid Coaster to go back to Tropical Resort to get Red Star Rings. After completing Act 2, the game froze and then crashed. I had seen this happen to someone earlier on Twitter and they'd lost their save file, but I figured that had to be such an isolated, anecdotal incident that it was just a bummer for them. I clicked back into the game and was informed of my save file corruption, throwing hours of my time away and thus my recording along with it. It's a Sonic game, so replaying it over and over is the name of the game, but I wanted to at least complete the save file first and see all of the new additions to the game before considering such a thing. I'm now back to about 75% completion on my current save file, but while getting some Red Star Rings in Planet Wisp, I had another complete freeze randomly. Now fortunately, my save file didn't corrupt this time, and I've been backing up my saves to the cloud like a man possessed, but it isn't fun playing a game with the stress of knowing that at any second, your save file could disappear from you. Those are just the major things that have happened to me. Twitter and YouTube are full of randomly assorted glitches, some of the remaining legitimate ones still being fairly disturbing at best to those with light sensitivity. Even beyond that, there are dozens of very minor bugs. Experiencing a handful of them wouldn't be a big issue, but the more time you put into Sonic Colors Ultimate, the more these pile up and weigh on your mind. Like, if the violin player sneezes during a symphonic performance, you go, oh, weird, and forget it instantly. But if the entire string section started going willy-nilly at random throughout the show, then it'd certainly be distracting, right? Speaking of audio, the audio mixing is questionable, if not outright bugged, with many sounds randomly picking a left or right sound channel to occupy, even if it doesn't really make sense with what's on screen. Here, listen. Some sound effects don't play. Sometimes wispy music, part of the charm of the game, is either completely muffled out by much louder sound effects or fails to start entirely. These pipes in Tropical Resort don't load, you can't get this wisp container, background elements load in or unload weirdly, just little thing after little thing.
Yeah, I think your machine still has some bugs.
Those louder sound effect issues could at least be temporarily addressed by lowering this slider, but bafflingly, the music is also tied to this slider instead of being given its own slider. Why? I hate feeling like I'm nitpicking, and I know that I technically am nitpicking. I know some will say, but you mostly had fun, so what's the matter? But that's not the point. I just can't help but be ultimately disappointed in the state of this release and the business model I knew better than to support, but still did. Buyer's remorse with a Sonic game isn't new, but it is new with something that should have been a no-brainer. While playing Sonic Colors Ultimate on any platform that isn't the Switch, you are likely to experience the game largely as intended. Unless you also have your save file corrupt, you'll likely have a playthrough that leaves you scratching your head and wondering why people are so upset. But I look at my time with this release and the problems everyone else has experienced, and I can't help but feel I paid to help bug test a release that clearly wasn't quite ready for prime time. It's not far from where it needs to be, but it isn't there yet. This video will likely release a day or two after I write it, and I'm writing it on the eve of the official release, so you will be watching this after the game has officially launched. And I've seen some say, well, the game isn't officially out yet. The day one patch hasn't hit, so you can't expect the game to be fully ready. I dislike this viewpoint immensely, as there is a greater cost of entry to play the game a few days early. It isn't like I paid $5 less to play the game and let Sega know what's wrong. I paid $5 more because I'm a gullible idiot, and it is disappointing to see Sega dredge up this business model and slap it to a product that they released before they should have. Not to mention that there have been 3 patches already. I'm on version 1.0.3 currently. And some will also speak to the idea that perhaps QA just missed these bugs, or were lazy, or incompetent. All points that are likely wrong, and even if they aren't, still pass the buck from the ultimate responsible party here, Sega. I love Sega. I love loving Sega. Look at my channel, I talk a lot about their games. I get excited for them. I think they've largely been great lately, and they're making games I can't wait to play. But I know they knew the state this game was in, and that shouldn't be acceptable. This isn't 2008 where the series is still feeling the after effects of releasing Sonic 06. This is supposed to be a period of improved quality for the series. If you look back at 2008 with me for a second, in 2008 we had Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, Sonic at the Olympic Games, Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood, 2 separate versions of Sonic Unleashed, with Sonic and the Black Knight coming just a few months later. And this is us not counting Sega Superstars Tennis, which heavily featured Sonic. We don't get barrages of release like that anymore, which I do think is a good thing still, but the reason why is purportedly due to ensuring that when a new Sonic release does come out, it's of a higher standard of quality, and to make each release worth the wait. Here's Aaron Weber himself saying as much in May of 2020.
Okay. a lot of people asking, when are we going to see a new game trailer or a new anything? And this, I'm sure, is the $1 million question, because as time goes on, the longer time goes on, the more antsy we get, right? And I say this having been a really strong core Sonic fan for a long time. The more antsy we get, and that's where we are right now. And this is a case where, and I think you've seen this change happen. Back in the day, it used to be like every year there was a new Sonic game. And as a result of that, there were a number of times when kind of because of that rushed production schedule, the quality of the games wouldn't quite be where they really kind of needed to be. And so a few years ago, we actually said, hey, that's gonna change going forward. We're gonna put probably more time into things as we go forward. And that's gonna mean that you have to wait longer between trailers or announcements or stuff like that. And we know that's kind of annoying sometimes, because you just really want news. But that's where we are now, and we think that the patience hopefully will be worth it in the end. We're really excited for what's to come, but we can't really say anything right now. So thank you for being patient. And as soon as we have news or anything to share with you, we absolutely will share it with you. So that's the best I can say. Someone's like Sonic 3006, and you won't wait that long. Don't worry.
I do like Aaron, and I do think this is the mindset this series needs currently. And I do feel for him, as these words are probably going to be biting the team for some time to come. And I feel for that team because I know that betraying that mindset wasn't their decision. If you believe the rumors about this game, and as I happen to understand things, those rumors are worth considering, Sonic Colors Ultimate was meant to release around the end of 2020, but was facing development issues. QA was reporting that it was in a hell of a state, so it was pushed back to have more work done. We are nearly a year after that, and the game is in this weird, mostly acceptable on powerful consoles, half broken on Switch if you're a power user and look at it the wrong way, condition. Shareholders probably wanted to know where the new Sonic was, why it was taking so long, and some senior member of Sega decided to get it out as soon as it was in a largely shippable state, to take the PR hit from whatever bugs arise, knowing they can expect a certain amount of players to buy this on release anyway, and if the state of the launch is too bad, to apologize and commit to a patch or two. There's no grand conspiracy here, just boring business as usual decisions leading to a bad customer experience and yet another miniature PR disaster for Sonic to endure when things are already precariously uncertain. We're now in the range where new Sonic Team Sonic games are released at least every 4 years, and with Sonic Rangers seemingly aiming to shift the status quo in a new direction and leaving a lot of Sonic fans cautiously awaiting new news with no Sonic Mania follow-up in sight, well, releasing yet another Sonic product that wasn't ready to be released has, at best, not done anything to inspire confidence. If we can't trust a remaster of Sonic Colors to be given the time it needs, can we trust Sonic Origins to be a worthwhile collection? Will Sonic Rangers even come out in 2022? The state of the world is still impacting game development. I would not be surprised if that game gets quietly pushed back in light of the reception Colors Ultimate is getting from fans like me. I guess at worst we can rest somewhat easy with the knowledge that Jim Carrey will get to pull some antics in the spring.
Look what came out of my egg sack.
Sonic Colors Ultimate needs to be a point of introspection for Sega and Sonic fans, as if the numerous subpar Sonic releases already once withstood shouldn't already have been such, but less so for its own isolated shortcomings, and more so for the canary in the coal mine it potentially represents for the series at large. How can Sega expect devoted fans to wait longer for fewer Sonic games when they're still going to be of a disappointing quality standard when they do come out? Fewer releases are fewer chances for newer fans to latch on to the appeal of Sonic, and fewer chances still for existing fans to feel that rush of passion for the series again. I don't think the series needs to go back to releasing 2 or 3 spin-offs each year again, but it was certainly easier to stomach games like Sonic Chronicles releasing when a game like Sonic Unleashed was right around the corner, with Sonic and the Black Knight not long after it, and ultimately Sonic Colors the following year. The greatest irony here is that at one point in time, Sonic Colors was a shining ray of hope for the series, an indication that Sonic Team finally got Sonic and found creativity and passion to imbue into the games once more. Now, 11 years later, much like the darker, washed-out tone of the once bright tropical resort levels, Sonic Colors has to stand for a much bleaker indication of the future. I hope this is a fluke, and I hope I'll look absolutely stupid a year from now. I want to be proven wrong more than anything, but right here, right now, I'm just disappointed. I'm just bummed out, man. As always, a major thanks to all of my patrons, and a thank you to Adrian, Buckles Chucklow, Calico Plus, Goldstormo7, Harry, James Boss, Jeet, Joey, Lois Jones, Moki, Patrick Thompson, Sven Delica, That Trav Guy, The Crazy Even, The Legend of Groose, and Wolf Chaos On. I appreciate your time.